Your Excellencies, ambassadors, deputy ambassadors, chargés d'affaires, cultural attachés, other members of the Corps Diplomatique, distinguished ladies and gentlemen in all capacities and titles. I think that's maybe the way to it, to do all of you. To the core of the museum belongs the full series of Los Caprichos. It's the work of Francisco Goya that he published in 1799. And of course the Spanish capricho is translated to caprice. And if you take a dictionary, Oxford or Cambridge, then you can find out that a caprice is a sudden and silly desire to do or to have something. Goya didn't use that word to define what he created, because it was conceived during his stay in Sanlúcar, when he consoled the Duquesa de Alba, and it was 1796 and 1799, so it took him years to work out his drawings. So you can't say that was sudden. Silly, maybe it was silly, because I think on the 6th of February he published his works or brought them to the market, and within 2 weeks, on the 19th of February, he made another announcement in the Diario that he was withdrawing them. So you can say possibly it was silly. On the other hand, after his death from 1855, another 11 editions of his work were published, so it was not so silly, I think. To open Museum De Reede, you could, have heard the word or used a grill in Dutch, which is capriccio or caprice. At least when it comes to the part sudden, it is not very appropriate, because the idea to do it has taken from 206 to 216, so that's 10 years. So I think that's not very sudden. Whether it's silly, that we will find out, because we definitely want this museum to stand on its own legs and not have to address itself to a state or outsiders. And that has to be proven. So my famous 25,000 visitors, we'll have to see. But I have full trust that we will have this number of visitors. I will take the rest of my time to what, as you call them in a catalogue, acknowledgements or credits, because to realize what you will in the next after all the speeches, what you will see has taken many efforts. And I think in the first place, and I do it chronologically, I give my acknowledgements and credits to the Transpetrol Foundation, because that was the foundation that established the Belgian Foundation to take care of this museum. The trustees of the Transpetrol Foundation took the brave decision to siphon off one of their objectives, which was the arts, and put it in a separate foundation, which is now the Stichting De Reede and running the Museum De Reede. And of course, immediately after that, it is the Stad Antwerpen, the city. It's not to be nice to the mayor that has been kind enough in his busy schedule to come here to open the museum. But it is absolutely right. We had a dialogue from very early days, and in all kinds of departments, cabinet of the mayor, culture, tourism, getting permits. Not that they were easy, because if a elevator for the people that use a wheelchair is 5 centimeters too short, it is 5 centimeters too short. You know, it's very simple. But you overcome these things. So I think it's the city, we have had an enormous productive dialogue. Obviously, after that, you get the people that did the transformation. And I don't know where they are, but somewhere here in this group, you have, as I called, the Old Smiles Trio, which is composed of Jean-Claude Le Rouge, who is the man that conceived the museum. You know, his design is there from the first step you set in the museum, and I'm not saying that it was all the time smiles. There was a lot of aggravation and obstacles to be taken. But Jean-Claude, with Jo Stevens as a master builder and coordinator, Thomas van Looy, the architects, engineers, architects, Lieven Verbrugge, who is also here tonight. The 4 of them, I think, are at the basis of what you will see in the next minute. And now I have to check my paper, because, you know, before I say stupid things. Yeah. Then I think I want to thank the lenders of the works, artworks. We have a very substantial own collection, but it is like a necessity to find out that other people share your views. And we have been able to borrow from Norway and from Belgium 12 works in total, three private collections in Belgium, in Norway 3, including the city of Tonsberg. It's a city in the south of the country. I think it's 45,000 inhabitants. It's maybe the 5th largest city in Norway. They were good enough to lend this work in 2006 when we had a traveling exhibition. So again, this was very important. Then, of course, you have in the process, you have so many professionals that from one angle or another, or amateurs, that assist you, that help you. Including, I would say, art galleries in Antwerp, and Fred Barefoots, who is here tonight, kind enough to gift 2 works. Then, of course, you have many synthesizers, and of course, you have, when you enter the building, very important, 2 of my friends here in Antwerp at an early stage said you have to establish a group of partners. This group of partners have contributed to the operating expenses for the next year, roughly 1/3. So our budget, which is not so expensive, but nevertheless we get 1/3 covered by outsiders. And there are about 20 people, mainly from Belgium. Then, of course, why can we run this on a shoestring is because we have 50 volunteers. And of course, I realize we still have to prove that model will work. But I have confidence. And these 50 volunteers are absolutely from this town. And maybe there's a few from Holland, and a few people from the western part of Flanders. They're from here, from all the surrounding cities. And they get just enough pay to pay for the tram. Then I made a note for myself. If I by this time have forgotten anyone, then please forgive me. But I come now, I'm going to, if you don't know, there's a Dutch expression which is much better than last but not least, and that is last best. And that is Erwin Joos. And now I have to find Erwin Joos because he's somewhere. Where's Erwin? Erwin, and where's Marieke? Marieke, okay. Because even before there was a museum, there was an empty building, and Erwin knew that because it was next door, and he pointed it out to me. But it's not that, you know. That was just the beginning. In the process of developing, he has been on every corner, on every junction, in every aspect. You know, he was there. Erwin, we want to commemorate that. Marieke, can you come? Erwin, you have to come. You have to come. Je geeft het aan. En ja, uitpakken, moet zien. Ja, je moet omdraaien. Nee, omdraaien. Ah. Sorry. It's a plate from Bertrand. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for all the time you were good enough to listen. I must ask now Schepen to come and maybe address